Library and Museum.
This is obviously the newest of the Presidential Library, so essentially what you have is a biographical section which deals with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and their formative years, but it focuses primarily on the presidency of Bill Clinton. And so we have a series of individualized alcoves of subject matter that deal with foreign and domestic policy that include the entire 8 years of the Clinton presidency. Some of the highlight exhibits include the limousine that the United States Secret Service used to drive Bill Clinton around when he was president. In addition to the 80 million pages of presidential records we have here, we also have a lot of film footage of President Clinton, video that was done by the White House Communications Agency and White House Television, along with about 2.5 million photographs. The photographic record of a modern president is immense, and this particular president, who traveled a lot, really was recording on film a lot. I enjoy standing back and watching other people look at the exhibits and marvel at how those exhibits came to be. I love watching school kids go through the museum who are from rural parts of Arkansas, who probably never would have had a chance to see a presidential library if we had not constructed this one in this state. I think those are two of the things that I marvel at the most.
Where we're at right now, we're inside the Oval Office, and this is one of the only exact replicas of the Oval Office, down to all of the dimensions. The furniture and whatnot that's in the Oval Office is manufactured by the people that manufacture the furniture for the actual Oval Office. Since we can't take it from the Oval Office, we did the next best thing. From the carpet up through all of the furniture and the artifacts that are in here, they're all as exact replicas if they're not the actual artifact themselves. Now, an interesting note is President Clinton himself came into this office before we opened to the public and walked around and basically signed off, if you will, that this is the way it was supposed to be. So as people see this, they can see a true representation of how President Clinton lived and operated on a day-by-day basis. And something people like to notice from the backside is the first presidential laptop computer is behind there. Of the well over 1.5 million emails that we have, President Clinton sent some of his first emails from that laptop behind the desk. The emblem on the Lincoln desk is the only emblem in the Oval Office that faces the arrows. The Lincoln desk was manufactured obviously in a time of war. That would be the only time that the head would face the arrows. In the true Oval Office, the emblem on the carpet would face the arrows in a time of war, but it faces the olive branch in a time of peace. So that was the only emblem that doesn't match of the three that are in this office. Well, here at the Clinton Library, I think we've gone over and discussed a little bit about the boxes. It's very intriguing to people. This is about 2% of the actual papers of the Clinton Library, and these are real papers. They're researchable, can be pulled, and they go floor to ceiling throughout the building. The Chihuly tree is a very unique item. It was part of the Millennium Celebration, and there are two identical trees, and they were exhibited in the White House, and one of them has been permanently donated to be in the Presidential Library. Farther down, we have an actual place setting for dinners in the White House, and those are actual real plates and real knives and forks and whatnot over there. Throughout there's going to be additional gifts that were given to the White House, given to the President or the White House. It's public. This is all public property. When a gift is given to the President, it becomes part of the national, a national depository of gifts that are given to the country. The floor below us, the second floor, contains one of the most important items that the President wanted to put out to the people, which is the timeline. And there are 8 stations on the timeline, one for each year of his presidency. Flanking the timeline on both sides, you're going to have alcoves, and each alcove addresses a major issue that President Clinton wanted to be further brought into the public eye or be available for people to witness and understand. The alcoves are based in a media format. There are videos that show in every alcove, and then there are artifacts that go with that particular policy or that particular moment in his presidency. Then all the way down on the first floor, which is where we came in, is an exhibit of Secret Service. And that is where you get a little bit of idea of what it takes to protect a person that is of the stature of the President of the United States. The President of the United States has been referred to as the leader of the free world. Now that is subject to argument one way or the other, but that puts you in a position of a very large target. And those men and women in the Secret Service really have a big responsibility to keep that person safe. The entire building is designed as a bridge. You'll find throughout the entire exhibits and throughout Clinton's presidency, he speaks of bridge to the 21st century. That is basically the cornerstone of the entire museum. It is built as a bridge. We have a bridge that accompanies it that crosses the river. The structure itself was built as a bridge, and you can see that in the girders and whatnot. One other major item major architectural point of the building is the President wanted it a lot of natural light. He wanted it exposed and open, and you're not going to find that in many museums because sunlight is very detrimental to artifacts. So outside the building, layering the entire outside, you'll see glass that they refer to as sunglasses for the building. And it actually does. It breaks up the ultraviolet light and makes the light that penetrates the building much safer for the artifacts, allowing us to exhibit these in natural light to the general public.